Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success. This is episode number 266. Wow, that's a big number. And good to see everybody here. It's a Wednesday, and Wednesday we talk about relationships and various and sundry issues surrounding such items. And this morning we're excited for a number of reasons, not the least of which is I get to spend a half hour chatting with my good friend, business colleague, and co-coach, the one and only Mr. Matt Maddox. How are you this morning, sir?
Hey, buddy, I'm blessed, my friend. Can't even tell you how blessed I am. Mike, so this morning I got inspired and I did a 15-second video on Instagram, which if you're not following Mike and I on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, follow us. Mike, are you on Pinterest?
I'm not. I'm not actually.
I'm actually not on Pinterest, but I feel like you and I should get on Pinterest and play the game. We're Snapchatters, though. Mike and I snap each other probably 15 times a day. And Mike, the pirate look yesterday, I forgot to tell you, by far funniest snap ever. I hurt my stomach laughing. It was so funny. Mike and I had a little hiccup with the company we're not going to call out publicly just yet. And Mike did this video, and then the next snap came in, and he drew a picture of a pirate all over his face with like one eye and the bones across his chest. That was hysterical. But what I was saying on Instagram, Mike, today is I like people that when I'm on the phone with them, like yesterday, you hung up on me. I mean, you pretty much hung up on me yesterday.
What?
And
when?
Either it was yesterday or the day before. You're like, I gotta go. Bam. And you hung up.
Yeah, so I actually had to go, though.
Yeah, but see, time out. Here's what I wanted to say. Mike and I came to this understanding a long time ago. We don't have to give each other explanations. Like, if I was on the phone with Mike this morning and said, gotta go, or call you back, like that fast, I promise you, Mike would go on about his business. I would go on about mine. Don't you like that? I mean, I like that.
Yeah.
I like people that are quick to get off the phone if you need to get. I don't want to have to give a 5-minute explanation. What if I had to use the restroom? What if it was an emergency? What if I really needed to, what if I needed to take an important phone call, right?
Right.
It shouldn't hurt Mike's feelings if I got to take an important phone call and vice versa. Anyways, it's our relationship show, so we figured we'd throw out and open the show with, if somebody needs to get off the phone with you, we're all going to be known in life for something. We are. We're known in our family for things. We're known in our neighborhood for things. Be known as the person that's easy to get off the phone with. Trust me, people want to talk to you more.
Hey, I like that. And being known for something, speaking of which, my good friend Phil Martin, who lives down in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, used to worked with him for years. Great guy. You'd love him. Wish you could meet him someday. He used to do this. When he'd be on the phone with me, he'd be like, we'd be chatting. He'd be like, okay, sick of talking to you. Click. That was it.
Yeah, do that to the bros. I'm not sure that would work doing that to your husband or wife,
Yeah. Yeah, well, relationships are like that. So that's kind of how we work. We constantly get at each other. But exactly right, Mary. It's about understanding relationship and trust. And so that's really, Matt and I have a safe relationship. So honestly, even if he said, hang on one sec, I got to take this other call, and like put me on call hold, and like 3 minutes later I'm still on hold, I'm okay with it. I'll be like, all right, I'll just hang up and he'll call me back later.
It's happened.
Yeah, it does. It happens. Yeah. Life happens. I mean, it's like it's all about, like, you have to have this foundation of trust. Like, look, Matt didn't wake up this morning trying to figure out how he could tick me off or offend me, and I know that. And so, get over it.
In fact, I don't want to. I literally don't. Like, even if Mike and I get frustrated with each other, the Bible talks about God's anger enduring for a moment. Like, we need to practice that as humans. Like, get over stuff quick. If you carry short, if you let go of resentments or hurts quick, you're better off energy-wise, sleep-wise, health-wise, vibe. Anyways, Mike, let's get into some questions. You and I, this is our show, though, and we can talk if we want to talk. That's why we call it a talk show. And Mike froze on me. I'm sure he'll be back. How's everybody doing out there? Don't forget you can ask questions in the chat box. You can ask questions. You can share comments. Many of you actually give good comments, and we're grateful for all of our. Right now, Fuel for Success is averaging 1,000 views per show. That's pretty amazing. So I don't know.
That is amazing.
I don't think that's like success. I just think it's influence. I'm glad that there's over 1,000 human beings that watch us every day. So let's try to influence those people and help them and encourage them. This is actually this show right here, Mike, is probably our most viewed show. It's our show on relationships and family.
Right.
So anyway,
it is definitely, and we're honored and humbled to be able to speak into people's lives, and I'm glad. That tells me that we're adding value to people's lives, and so that's what it's all about. And so, hey, that's cool. Well, let me ask you this. Here, I've got a bunch of questions, and of course, you know the deal about asking questions if you're on the show. And let me start with this because this is a great question.
I'll try to give shorter answers, rapid fire. We'll see how we can do it.
Okay. Hey, listen. Everybody in life has like differing energy levels, and of course, you and I are both fairly high energy people. We maybe manifest it in different ways, but we're relatively high energy people. And when trying to connect with someone that's, of a different energy level, different vibe, sort of different personality bent than you are, how important is energy, and how can you connect with someone who's sort of on a different wavelength from you?
Well, if you'd asked me a long time ago, I'd have thought that's no big deal. Now, having experienced so much of life and different scenarios and situations and different levels of having to work with people, I think it's almost life or death in a relationship connection, or depends on what the connection is. If it's business, if it's, dating, if it's, going on vacation. Like me, I couldn't vacation with somebody that has low energy. I could not hang out a lot with somebody that has low energy because I'm always on the move. I'm always on the go. I can't, like, for example, I think that's why you and I did so unbelievably amazing together at Mission 25, because we could keep pace.
Right.
You ever got on the phone with somebody and you just start yarning? It's like their energy, and I can tell you there's people that I get on the phone with and I just get really tired. I'm like, because it's an energy thing, Mike. They pull. Their energy is so powerful. We can pick up on energy when we go to the grocery store, the gym, at work, of course, family members, friends.
Right.
That's why it's so important to learn how to be aware of your energy, to feel your energy, to know where you get your energy from. For example, last night I went and watched sun set, and this morning I got up early and watched sunrise. Well, I'm probably at one of my highest levels of energy right now because my energy comes alive in nature. I do better when I take, an hour to watch sunrise or sunset. I actually get more done. I feel better. And, even doing early morning workouts. So let's say that, okay, again, Mike, a broad question. So are we talking marriage? Are we talking business partnership? Are we talking friendship? So to answer your question, deep level connections, you almost have to have identical energy. Almost.
That's good.
What are your thoughts on that, Mike? What's your take? You're a smart guy. What's your take on that?
Well, thanks. I think that what I see actually manifest. Well, first of all, you're absolutely right. You couldn't vacation with someone of low energy, because here's Matt. He's like, "Hey, there's a place over here. Let's go." Like, wait, time out. We're what? What are we doing? That's how Matt is, like, constantly. So like people who want to like plan.
4 lanes of traffic to get there, won't I?
Yeah, or like, hey, I heard of this place that's got these great sandwiches, and it's like over here. We're gonna go. Like, wait, now? Right now? Yeah, right now. So if you first of all, if you have low energy,
we just ate 30 minutes ago. We just ate 30 minutes ago. No, I want to try it. Remember, Mike, when we were in Canada? I don't know if we should reveal this. Remember, we were going to meet people to eat, and I was like, dude, let's try these crepes. And we went and ate.
We were on our way to lunch, and we stopped and got food.
That actually was funny. It really was. They were like, Yeah, we've only been here waiting for you guys for like 40 minutes. We're like, oh, we're
Yeah,
so
we
sorry.
call them like, hey, order us fish and
To this
chips.
day, they didn't know we were in another restaurant eating crepes.
Wait, let's make sure
Must have
nobody's
watched
on the
the
show
show.
right
I'm
now.
sorry. We
Though.
didn't mean
Hey,
to make you wait.
yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry, Mike. I keep cutting you off. See what I'm saying? My bad. Sorry.
The other thing is if you want to have a plan and stick to a plan on a vacation, do a vacation with Matt. So back to the energy level thing. I'm just saying, if you have to have things in order and you don't want to be spontaneous, there's a difference there. There's people who can't handle the spontaneity of life, and I can't. I can't even understand that because I'm like, I love spontaneous. Sort of a
You're the
related
best.
topic. I don't know about that, but sort of a related sort of topic. And what I was going to go into is I'm not as much on energy. One of the things that I've noticed, and of course we launched this company, My Health, with our My Health 90 product, and really hit the market about 65 days ago, 75 days ago, I guess. And we're not talking about business today, but just to use it as an analogy, one of the things when you're involved in building a business and doing all these things, there's the hustle mode, right, where you get sort of in a zone and you start doing things there's a lot of things on my plate. I can't possibly get everything done every day, even working 18 hours a day, slamming through it, doing all the things. You're making calls, you're returning texts, you're like in this hustle mode, and then you like encounter somebody that's the opposite of that, and it's like, the brakes are like, hang on. And it's actually very difficult to even talk to somebody that isn't in hustle mode when you're in hustle mode. And so when you're in that, like, you're that flow and not, not to call anybody out. Well, I just won't. So I've got family members, not like immediate in my home, but family members that are the opposite. And they're like these slow, plodding sort of, personalities. And you're on the phone with them. You're like, leaning in like, hey, I listen, I have stuff to do, and it's hard to sort of reconcile that. So anyway, yeah, I'm not venting. I'm using an example.
Hey, Mike, if you
Yeah.
want to vent on our show, you can vent, my friend. But you're actually making a good point, Mike. You're making a really good point. Because in our case, here we are, we're in a partnership. Mike lives in Minnesota, I live in Florida. He's married with 3 kids and a grandkid. I'm a single dad with a kid who's got more energy than 1,000 Chinese kids put together, right? So, and we're all different, like life, Mike and I are as different as 2 human beings can be in we
True.
are. But
Yeah.
what's cool is in a partnership is there's such a deep level of trust that even on days when maybe I have no hustle to give. Maybe I'm just clouded here because a lot of what we do, there's such an awesome partnership because, we have such awesome strengths in each other's weaknesses and vice versa that there is a pick me up. There is like a understanding of, hey, I'm not going to get pissed because I'm working harder than Mike today or this week or this, couple of, you know what I'm saying? In other words, there's an understanding, but then there's also an honesty factor of, hey, Matt, bro, I know you got a lot going on. For the next 3 days, I need you in Rambo mode. That's what I need as a partner.
Rambo mode.
And I think it's important to communicate that, to understand it, to get it, to be like, hey, I get it, Mike. I've been slacking or whatever, and vice versa. Like if I need Mike to bust out something, if I need an app by midnight tonight, I'm like, Mike, I'm sorry. I need the app by the night. Mike's like, hang up. I got to go. So anyway, Mike, let's talk. So what are some other questions that are going on?
Well, first of all, I like Rambo mode, and a quick shout out to Sylvester Stallone if he's ever watching, because you gave us so many analogies for success through the Rocky movies and the Rambo movies. So, big fan. My next question is this: what is it that causes that can cause someone to stop trusting people in general?
What is something that can cause someone to stop trusting?
Yeah.
Are you saying, like, what do we do that causes people to stop trusting us?
Um, I think more like the question is what causes someone to stop trusting people. So what can happen in someone's life that causes that trust? You know, some
Well,
people just don't have
okay,
trust for people.
I see what you're saying. Man, like there are people that never climb the mountain. They never heal. They never overcome.
Sure.
They never
Yeah.
have that, you know. So in other words, here's what happens. The fact is, we're all going to get hurt. We're all going to have friends and family and people that are going to betray, break our trust, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not even meaning to. You got to understand that flow as well. But Mike, let's be real. Let's be real about it, my friend. The bottom line is some people just don't heal. They don't go through the tough work of accepting, forgiving, letting go, and putting things in perspective that, you know, not everybody's going to hurt you and not everybody's out to hurt you. And you're not the, I think, Mike, because they probably never have a breakthrough of victim thinking, maybe. Or, and again, all of us have our share of victim thinking. All of us,
Sure.
because we're humans. I mean, when we were babies, we cried, we got a pacifier, a bottle, or fed. You know what I'm saying? We got held, you know, so we grew up. You know, this is our human nature. So I'm not saying it's necessarily all in all bad. It's just got to put it in perspective, and you've got to learn how to get above that hump of thinking so like everybody's out to get you. And, you know, it's like someone that got hurt. Like, you know, I'll never trust men again. You know, and I'm going to tell you ladies to be careful, because I know some single moms that have been fried who are passing that on to their daughters. I've seen it happen. Trust me, I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
You got fried, man. And so maybe you were married to a guy that was a porn addict. Not every guy's a pervert, y'all. Not every guy's going to cheat and lie and look at other women. You know what I'm saying? So you can't take one experience and then assume that the rest of the world is this way. It's
Right.
like preachers, right? I'll never trust preachers. I met people that got hurt by a preacher. I'll never trust. I'll never go to church again. That's to the extreme. You know, that's to the extreme. You can't go to the extreme. If you go to the extreme, Mike, it becomes dangerous, because what happens is you lose your ability to think rationally and think, okay, you know what? This happens. Hurting people hurt people, you know. And sometimes, Mike, time is your best friend, but perspective, and sometimes people need a life coach, or they need therapy, or they need counseling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I like what you were saying about generalizations. And in general, generalizations are generally a bad idea. So whenever we generalize, then we you know, the reality is every person's an individual and everybody's different. And to generalize any people group is always a bad idea. You know, let me ask you this then. If you know, say someone today that's watching this or listening on the podcast has had their trust betrayed, or they've betrayed someone else's trust, and there's a brokenness in that relationship over trust or some other issue. And you know, is there hope for that relationship? Can a broken relationship or broken trust ever be 100% restored?
Yeah, Mike, that's tough. I mean, can it? Yes, because with God, anything can happen. With God, all things are possible. So, Mike, I'm a fanatic about God. I'll say it right here on our show. I believe in God. I believe that God is the answer. I believe God can fix things, the broken. I believe God can heal. I believe, but Mike, let's be real about it. If it's going to happen, there has to be biblical principles applied. There has to be true forgiveness. You know, there has to be true apology. A real apology. It cannot be, it has to be the purest apology. It cannot be, I'm sorry I hurt you. If you ever say to somebody, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go here because it's too long. We'll go here on another show. My brief answer is most of the times no, because most people are not emotionally healthy enough to Mike, restoring trust takes such work and such patience most humans don't have the resilience to travel down that long grinding road of repairing trust. For that reason, most people don't. Can it happen? Yes. Do I believe myself as a life coach could coach two people to repair trust? Yes. But it does depend on the violation. Mike, the who, what, when, where, how determines everything. Hear me? So I'm talking like in a situation where trust is broken, maybe with infidelity in a marriage or a dating relationship, maybe in a business partnership, maybe with your kids, maybe with a friend. So the who, what, when, where, how, you know what I mean? Motive, who was it? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, someone that grew up, having never been hurt before, having lived a good and a very healthy home life, they might can heal quicker than someone that's been fried so many times. There's just some people just run out of gas. Like, I just can't take anymore. Who do I trust? Who's real? My God, everybody. But then you got to be careful because, believe it or not, Mike, I'm even going to go deeper. Self-limiting beliefs actually attract that into your life. And you have most people, and I know from experience, I think my first 4 or 5 girlfriends cheated on me and lied and left me for guys that were extremely lower quality than me. I mean, extremely. And if any of them are watching, you guys were. But anyways, here's the deal.
Right.
Here's the deal.
Losers.
I figured out that I had some self-limiting beliefs up here that was actually attracting those type of women in my life. Bam. If you ever want to know more about that, read my book. That'll be coming out this year.
Hey, I'm just thankful that you called out those guys as losers because I'm agreeing with you.
I'm looking at them. I look at them now and I'm like, wow, those girls must have such a heaviness of oh my God, look what I could have had, But that's life, right? That's why country music is amazing.
Because life is life. That's exactly right. Hey, I'm going to jump topics just a little bit. And, one of the colloquialisms that we deal with a lot in life is that opposites attract. And what's your opinion on that? You think that's true? We know it's true, in physics as far as magnetism and polarity and those sort of things. But is it true in relationships?
Well, what's funny is everybody tells me I need a lady, my future wife needs to be subdued and laid back and easygoing. And, yeah, that makes sense on paper. I just don't know if that'll work. You know what I'm saying? Yes, opposites attract by nature. Does it have to be? No, because in reality, Mike, it's a saying we all grew up with. Somebody said it probably on a movie, then it just kind of trickled down. And then naturally you'll see some male that's real dominant, a lady that's kind of just real quiet, or a real outgoing, bubbly personality wife, and a guy that's laid back. So naturally that probably has happened in many, many dating relationships, friendships, whatever. However, the more similarities that you have with somebody, the deeper the connection, in my opinion.
Right.
If you've got similarities in values and likes and whatever, then obviously I think you'll have more chemistry because it's all about chemistry. I just don't know how I could have chemistry with somebody who's extremely introverted and quiet and shy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where would the chemistry be? I'm wanting to I don't just watch a movie and say, oh, that was good. I want to spend an hour talking about it. You know what I mean? Hey, what'd you get? What do you think he should have done in that situation? If you had to name 5 things that really stood out to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
actually. I just can't see.
That's watching. That is exactly watching a movie with Matt. What are your top 3 moments from that movie? What do you think? What do you rate it on a 1 to 10? I don't know. I was just watching it. Hey, so you want to hear my? I actually have I have a personal philosophy on the opposites attract thing.
Yeah, I want to hear it. What's your philosophy?
First of all, I have an analogy. And the analogy is there was a moment in time years and years ago when I came to the realization that when it comes to ice cream, chocolate and vanilla are not opposites. They're just two separate flavors. We'll let that sink in a minute. Now, the reality is, how can two people be opposites anyways? Because there's no like, you're a 5 and you're a -5. It's not, you can't polarize people that way because people are entirely too complex. Now, do chocolate and vanilla go well together? Yeah, especially when you put strawberry in there and you put it all in that one ice cream carton. What is it, Neapolitan? And everybody eats all the strawberry and leaves everything. So, but my philosophy on that is there really aren't opposite personalities anyway, but there's different personalities. And from a a friendship and a partnership relationship, you and I click well together because we're not because we're opposites, but because we're different in a lot of ways, but we're also very similar in a lot of ways. So to me,
True.
that's kind of what opposites attract. No, because there is no opposite. What's the opposite of me? There's no opposite of me. That's my philosophy.
Actually, that's actually, Mike, when you put it the way you just put it, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, of the 7 billion people on the planet, every one of them are different. So you're right. Like I said, opposites attract probably came out of some movie way back. And we all just kind of, we grow up with it. It's what everybody says. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, chocolate and vanilla are both still ice cream, right? You're chocolate, I'm vanilla, vice versa, whatever. But we're both made of cream and sugar and collagen and all the nastiness that's in there. But at the same time, we have more similarities than differences, even though we're two completely different flavors.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
So let me ask you this, and I think that, like you said, there's 7 billion people, everybody's different. There's different personality types, and there's about 100 different ways to slice that, and I've seen different personality tests and different ways to measure it and classify and all of those. Why is understanding that so important? Why is it important to understand different personality types and those sort of things?
I think it's actually very important. I think every couple, every married couple, and every parent should, every household, like you should know your kid's personality type. You should know your spouse's personality type. In business, you should know your secretary, your staff, your manager. Because Mike, if we understand one another's personality type, there is a basic type. There's 4 different types of personality. Knowing that all of these types, all of them have strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
And knowing that sometimes, for example, somebody that would be what we call melancholy, if I'm saying it right, tends to be extremely detail oriented, extremely they can come across almost critical or cynical or whatever. You know what I mean? But they're really not. Or somebody that's like a sanguine, really outgoing, life of the party. They can come across as irresponsible and flaky, but they're really not. We need those type of people. Someone that's choleric can come across as dominant,
right.
Very controlling, but they're not. We need cholerics. They're the fire starters. They're the make it happen people. They'll just get it done. And then you got the phlegmatics that are very easygoing. They're peacemakers. They're laid back. And we assume they're lazy or just non-interested and non-passionate, but they're not. It's the mixture of those 4 personalities is actually powerful. And I have studied those 4, and I know the strengths and weaknesses of all of them. It's helped me in relating with people, knowing, okay, you know what? Yeah, okay, I get why, some person is kind of laid back at the party and they're just kind of taking it all in. They could tell you what every person is wearing. They're like details. They know when the punch bowl is getting low. A sanguine's not going to know when the punch bowl is getting low unless he's like, hey, where's the punch? You know what I'm saying? And the choleric's pushing everyone over to fill the punch bowl. And the phlegmatic's like, hey guys, it's okay if we run out of punch. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends. It depends on the situation. I think every married couple should try to find out what each other's personality is. It'll help you save a lot of frustration. I think churches should do it. I think leaders should do it. I think your secretaries. Like Mike, I would never probably hire a sanguine secretary. I just don't think sanguines make good secretaries because, you know, but I think people that are more like kind of melancholy, choleric type people make unbelievable secretaries. You know what I'm saying? So I think it all depends. You know, we can dive deep into this. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's good to understand the strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes it's difficult to recognize exactly what people are. And and in fact, some people are a pretty heavy mix of two or more of those different personality types. But I think there's good science behind it, and I think that it's good to understand and good to recognize, certainly. Um, and understanding yourself is also important, like understanding where you're at, what your personality type is sometimes, because honestly, one of the biggest challenges, especially when it comes to conflict and high stress situations, is understanding why you're reacting or feeling the way that you are. And so if you understand what your personality type is, sometimes it'll give you a little insight into where you're at and where you're coming from personally, which can help you sort of deal with yourself, if I can put it that way. And sometimes dealing with yourself.
But I also want to say you should always be growing. So don't ever box yourself in by saying, well, it's just how I am. Like, I don't like that mentality. I think that I think everyone should be married to personal growth. You know what I'm saying? I think, forgive me for the laugh. I just got a funny text that popped up on my computer. Sorry about that. Focus.
That was my
fault. All
right.
right. Anyways, Mike. Mike just sent me the funniest text in the history of texting. All right. So anyway, Mike, let's go. Maybe one or two more questions before we sign off. How are we? Let's go. What do we got? Anything exciting, or you want to call it a day?
Relax. Settle down. What's the best way to handle conflict with a casual contact? Maybe somebody that's not part of your inner circle, part of your family, maybe somebody you don't deal with every day. Could be a customer, it could be just someone you've met. But if there's conflict, how do you handle that? What's the best way?
Like someone that like takes your parking spot? Are you talking about somebody that's sitting in your seat at the ball game? Are you talking about like somebody that's
no, probably somebody that you know who they are, you know their name. It's somebody you encounter, on occasion, like a
conflict. Mike, the basics of handling conflict are this.
Yeah, I lost you for a second. Go ahead. I'm like, the basics of handling a conflict are
the basics. 3 quick things. Number one, always approach non-confrontational, because there's a scripture that says a soft answer turns away wrath. Number 2, always give people the benefit of the doubt. Never prejudge someone's motives or someone's actions. Never. Like, there's wisdom. You know what the Bible says? Here's wisdom. The Bible says, hear the whole conclusion of the matter. Done. That solves every relationship problem. How many times have we not actually sat down and truly heard the whole conclusion of the matter? Intention is everything. Motive is everything. Misunderstanding, Mike, I'm shocked at the amount of relationship breakdown that happened over small misunderstandings that really should have and could have been fixed in 72 seconds. Maybe 3 minutes max. Hey, I really didn't mean that. I really didn't. I'm so glad you asked me to clarify, because I really didn't mean that. That wasn't my motive at all. Be like, let's say, for example, there's just communication. Okay, that would be my third piece of advice. Just communicate. Ask for clarification. Say, like, Mike, I'm 1,000,000,000% sure you didn't mean this. This is my perspective. Please help me clear it up, because this is how I'm currently feeling about it. Mike, we just need to have more of those types of chats.
It's good. Hey, one last question. Let's see if you can answer this in like 3 minutes or less. It's a tough one. What's the best way to handle rebellion in children?
Ooh. Well, in my opinion, a lot of that starts when they're little. So let's deal with that first.
Yeah.
I really believe that train up a child. You got to start young with discipline. And the Bible actually talks about that the rod of correction drives rebellion from a child. You know, that rebellion is bound in the heart of a child by nature. How do you deal with it as they're older, Mike? A couple of things to reevaluate. Remember this, rules without relationship leads to rebellion. A lot of times when kids are rebellious, they're looking for attention they might not be getting. That's one perspective. I'm not saying that's always it.
Right.
Another one is, at the end of the day, Mike, sometimes you just have to, okay, you ready for this? Sometimes a speeding ticket is okay for people. It's a wake-up call. Sometimes you literally have to handcuff them. Drunk driving, okay? So it depends on the act of rebellion. Sometimes there needs to be tougher laws and discipline to wake them up, drive that from them, and you have to be consistent in you can't, here's what I always believe. Anytime I've ever told my son I was going to discipline him, I always followed through even when I personally didn't want to. And I think as a parent, you have to do that. If you tell your kid, hey, if you're not here by 11 o'clock, and they show up at 11:07, I literally believe there needs to be a hard consequence. I really do. To teach them that your word is serious. And I think, Mike, what happens is we go back, as parents, we go back on our word too much. We don't follow through and execute true discipline, and therefore the rebellion grows. And a lot of times you got to take a look at a kid's, who are they hanging out with? What kind of music are they listening to? Where's the source of rebellion coming from? And sometimes, Mike, there's two ways around it. Deeper relationship, because one of the reasons they're rebelling is because they're seeking attention. The other perspective is you've got to toughen it, and you've got to be consistent and follow through with the rules. I see a lot of parents set rules and they don't follow through with them. And therefore, the rebellion grows in a child. Mike, you asked me to do this in 3 minutes. I really need 15. So maybe we'll go deeper into this next week. But you've raised 2 teenagers. You know what it's like, 3 teenagers, actually. You probably got more experience with this than I do. So what would be your quick 3-minute piece of advice? Or by the way, dude, ice cream analogy today, that goes to the top of my list now. Just letting you know you hit a home run.
Thank you.
Or you shot a buck. I'm sorry. My bad. You shot a buck. Sorry.
Hey, played baseball too. It's all good. So my advice, I think it was Mark Twain who said, when your child turns 15, you put him in a whiskey barrel and close the top and feed him through a knothole. And when they turn 17, you plug the knothole. I think that's what he said. That's pretty much my advice. It's like herding cats and roping the wind and tugging on Superman's cape, if I can quote Jim Croce, all at the same time. So Godspeed. With God, all things are possible. And I think probably pray for wisdom from God. I like everything that you said. Those are absolutely true. And make sure that you're building a strong relationship with them and listen. Number one is listen. That's critical, because when there's been situations and issues with my teenagers, the first thing out of their mouth is always, well, you don't listen to me. So when it gets to the place where there's a conflict, whether that's just a candy stick with them or whether it's true, I'm sure there's some truth in it, they always go back to that. And so a key thing is to listen to your teenagers and actively listen so they know you're listening. Yeah.
That's good, actually. That's really good. It's kind of like weeds in a garden. Pick them out quick. In other words, a lot of times what I see happen is we let too much go. I think when kids are 12, 13, 14, you need to be quick to shut that rebellion down. Meaning, like, for example, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it one more time. My son's mom is not one of my favorite people on the planet. We're cordial because we share parenting, but we're not having coffee together, okay? But I'm telling you, if I ever even hear my son even come close to raising his voice, it's almost like analogy. It's almost like hand on throat up against the wall. Don't you ever speak to no, it's serious, and I wouldn't do that, obviously. I'm giving you an analogy.
Right.
It's that like, wait a minute. Immediately my attention changed. There's like a sternness as a dad. No. Even in the small areas. Like if I don't hear him say yes, ma'am. Like let's say like last night, she came to pick him up and said, maybe she might have said, oh, Caleb, go grab your iPad. He like would have walked away and didn't say yes, ma'am. I would have stopped him right in front of her and say, come here. Your mom just asked you to go get your iPad. What do you say? Like, you got to catch the small things and get that into your child, how serious you are about respect. It all starts with Caleb or whoever. Are your kids the last one off the elevator? If they're not, you're not training them right. If they walk out of an elevator before an adult, you're not training them right. And you train by example. We're on a subway. You don't sit down if there's ladies or elders.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't let your son sit down. If me and some of my friends were maybe at a hotel and there was like only 3 chairs and my son was sitting in one of them and a few other adults came up, hopefully he would automatically give up. But if not, you got to be quick to embed respect in our kids. Starts in all the small areas. Starts in some small as, me saying, Caleb, when your coach is talking, you stare in his eyes. You don't look down at the ground and pick grass or look at your glove. Don't take your eyes off the coach. So, Mike, those little things through life to me, and I'm not there yet. I still got a 13-year-old, so I haven't mastered it. Come see me when he's 17, and I'll tell you where we're at. But I think that does help.
It's good. Hey, great content today, and appreciate all the insight. This is great content today. Like Mary said, don't forget to tweet and Facebook this out. If it helped you at all, you think other people can help it, send them the link. Same link that you click to get here will help anybody get there. So thanks, everybody.
Are you starting to do the closing? Because I thought that was my job. Because you do the intro, I do the close. I didn't take over intro today. No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead, close.
It's important to have fun with your friends, too.
Yeah.
Have fun. We don't have fun enough. We don't play enough. But anyways, here it is. Thank you so much for watching our talk show, Fuel for Success. Mike and I here every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 9:30 EST for our talk show. Simply talking about health, family relationships, life, business, entrepreneurship, money. And here, the good news is if you don't catch us live every day, you can watch later on the archives at fuelforsuccess.tv. You can also go to iTunes and download our podcast for free. And every one of our episodes is also living out there on YouTube. So you can YouTube us. You can iTunes us. You can hit us up on the web. And you can always find Mike Hopkins, Hopkins, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all that good stuff. And same thing with myself, Matt Maddox. We're here every day. This is our 266th episode. If you missed any of our previous episodes, you can go back and watch even our very first episode that happened on January 1st, 2014. Hey, we love you guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 9:30. You like that one, Mike? Living out there on YouTube.
I love it. Love it.
Well, we might celebrate 275, Mary. Probably not. We're going for 300, though. That'll happen here in a few months. So thanks for the suggestion. We're shooting you down temporarily. We will mention 275 in your honor, but big celebration comes at 300, right, Mike?
Big celebration.
Love you guys. God bless you all, my friends. See you tomorrow morning.
Have a great Wednesday, everyone. God bless.